state, supporting Senator Bernie Sanders and other progressive candidates for office for a while now, but it is always good to be back in my hometown, in my home district, in fellowship with some of the best damn political activists in the entire state. I consider it an honor and a privilege to serve as your Linn County Supervisor, to have the chance to represent you and your interests every single day has been one of the greatest joys of my life. It will never be lost on me that I am here today as the first African American to ever hold the position because you all gave me a chance. I grew up on the southeast side of this town, in the Oakville Jackson neighborhood and the apartment projects there. Grew up without a father. My sister and I were raised by our mother who lacked a college education. She worked low-wage jobs to make the ends meet. We were welfare kids and we relied on hand-me-downs and food stamps to get by. And when I was just 4 years old, I lost my mother to homicide, and the case was never solved. My sister and I went to live with our grandmother, who was also a single parent, who had raised 7 kids on her own. She went to Kirkwood Community College late in life and received her associate's degree and trained to become a nurse. She worked long hours in the hospital system here in Iowa, doing the best she could to raise 2 young kids and pay the bills and stave off retirement long enough for us to get to college. She raised me and my sister to work hard, to do right by others, and to leave this world a little better than how we found it. She was the kindest, strongest woman I ever knew. And in 2015, she went to be with her God. Work hard, do right by others, and make this world a little better. As I've come to think on it a little bit, come to think on these words, I've realized that they've become the guiding philosophy of the labor movement, which is rooted in justice. This movement is made up of women and men who work extremely hard, and they literally build our communities. The women and men in the labor movement, they teach our students, they nurse our sick, and they respond to our emergencies. They serve our food, they make our clothes, they repair our machines, they deliver our goods. Working people are the indispensable engine of the American economy, and don't let anybody tell you any different. But although working people power this economy, they were often some of the last ones considered when Wall Street speculators and big banks nearly destroyed this economy. And even though working people built the middle class, this economy has not been working well for working people. Instead, it's been working well for the top 1%. Consider this. When the 3 wealthiest people in our country own more wealth than the bottom 160 million Americans, working people are getting a raw deal. When corporate profits are at an all-time high, while wages as a percentage of the economy are near an all-time low, working people are getting a raw deal. And when the tax policy of this country benefits the wealthiest human beings and shields corporations while asking the middle class and their families to wait so the wealth can trickle down, working people are getting a raw deal. And this is not justice. This is not fair, this is not right, and it's certainly not sustainable. However, there is one candidate in this race who is choosing to stand up for working people. and talk openly and candidly about workplace democracy. There is one candidate who's running for president whose presidential campaign was one of the first to organize its workers. You clap for that. We want labor unions. There's one candidate who understands there are no backroom deals to be made when it comes to protecting our unions. In fact, Senator Sanders wants to double union membership in his first term in office. Senator Sanders wants to guarantee the right of all people to unionize and protect them from being fired or retaliated against when they engage in union activities, and that is important. We all know Senator Sanders, and we all know that he's not doing this because some pollster is telling him it's electorally popular, right? We all know how this man is built. Bernie Sanders believes in working people, and he believes in the power of movement politics. He believes that although the 1% is strong, that the 99% of us can win, and that the 99% of us will win. Well, he's been doing this for his entire career. That's one of the things that makes him special. He's been standing up for you and me for decades. He's been on more picket lines than any other candidate in this race. He's been fighting for civil rights, for equal rights, and for human rights for decades. And that's important and that's meaningful. And all of this matters because it means you know what you're getting with Bernie Sanders. No one will ever utter the words, "I wonder how much he's going to change his policy positions in the general election to appeal to Republicans."
Right.
I'm not going to say that about Bernie Sanders. No one has ever accused this man of changing his position because the opinion polls were starting to change and the politics were getting a little tricky. You can say that about most other candidates running in this presidential contest, but you cannot say that about the good senator from the state of Vermont.
Yeah!
So all of this matters. All of this matters, and all of this and more is why I support this man for president, because he supports us. And his support is real. It's not manufactured, and it's not for show. And it's not going to change when it gets hard. This is about revolutionizing our politics and uplifting every single American. And that is why I have chosen to support Senator Bernie Sanders for president. And if you will indulge me, please help me bring to the stage the next president of these United States, the good senator from Vermont, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Let me thank Vicki for their music. Let me thank Emma Keeshan for her remarks, and Josh Ironside and Stephanie Bales. And let me thank Stacey Walker, not only for doing a great job in Lynn County and in the state of Iowa, but for doing a great job in our campaign, and I appreciate his support very much. And I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, for being part of the political revolution. So are you all ready to make a revolution? All right. Well, you came to the right place. And let me talk a little bit about what we mean, what Stacey means, when we talk about a political revolution. I'll start right at maybe the most basic thing. and that is to run a campaign for president, as you all know. You need money, you need a lot of money. We have a lot of staff here in Iowa, with staff in New Hampshire, with staff in many parts of the country. It costs money. We pay our staff good wages. And by the way, they all have 100% health care coverage. They cover all of their needs. And of course, money to put ads on TV and the radio and so on. But the point is, how do you raise that money? Where does the money come from? Well, I don't have a super PAC, and I never will have a super PAC. A super PAC is a means by which billionaires or very wealthy people or corporate CEOs can dump a whole lot of money into a campaign. But we don't have a super PAC, and we don't want a super PAC. I do not spend my time, not 1 minute of one day in this campaign, going to some wealthy person's home and sitting down with other millionaires and walking out with a few $100,000. Never did that. I much prefer to be here with you in Cedar Rapids than sitting in some millionaire's living room. So how do we raise our money? Because it takes a lot of money to run, and we are raising a lot of money. We are doing it in a way that is unprecedented in the history of the United States of America. That's how we're doing it. As of now, if my memory is correct, we have received some 4.2 million campaign contributions. 4.2 million. From over 1.2 million Americans. And brothers and sisters, the average contribution is not $500, it's not $1,000, it is $18. And nobody, to the best of my knowledge, in the history of American politics has received as many campaign contributions from as many people in this point of a campaign as we have, and I am extraordinarily proud of that. So we are going to win this election in the very old-fashioned way, and that is through grassroots activism, through the support of working-class people, and by coming up with an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families in Iowa, Vermont, and all over this country. That's how you do it. It's not complicated. I don't go to wealthy campaign contributors and ask them what I should say. All right, I don't go to super PAC people and ask them what I should say. I'm going to you and asking you what the issues are that face the American people. Let me just spend a little time talking about some of those issues. First issue is I worry very much about the state of American democracy. We have a president who apparently has never read the Constitution of the United States, a president who does not believe in the rule of law, a president who has aligned himself internationally with authoritarian leaders all over the world. So I know that you believe and I believe in democracy. People have fought and died to defend American democracy, and we will not allow Trump or anybody else to take away our democratic rights. And when we talk about democracy, we believe in one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. We're going to overturn Citizens United. When we talk about democracy, we do not believe that governors have the right to suppress the vote, make it harder for people of color or young people to participate in the political process. We believe that in America, if you are 18 years of age, you have the right to vote. End of discussion. And we believe in a government and in an economy that works for all people, not just the 1%. As Stacey Walker was telling you a moment ago, we have more income and wealth inequality in America today than at any time since the 1920s. While you got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of America, you got half of the people in this country who are living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck. I've been all over your state, where for some reason you still have a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Is that right? Does anybody believe that a human being can live on $7.25 or $8 or $9 an hour? You can't do it. You can't do it. So at a time when the rich are becoming much richer, we are going to stand up for working people all over this country. We're going to raise that minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. And we're going to end the absurdity of women making 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. And as Stacey said, we have introduced the most progressive labor law legislation in the modern history of this country. We're going to make it easier for workers to join unions. We believe that in the year 2019, 2020, we have to rethink public education in America. And that is why we have got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. But it's not just colleges. There are a lot of people who are good with their hands. They want to go out and get a job in construction or whatever other area. They have a right to get the training they need, regardless of the income of their family. Tell you what else we're going to do. We're going to cancel all student debt in America. And we're going to do that by telling Wall Street that they're going to have to pay a modest fee on Wall Street speculation. It's another issue out there that I know is on everybody's mind. You can't run away from. That's the issue of health care. There's a lot of discussion within the Democratic primaries about one's position on health care. So let me be very, very clear. 100 years ago, people like Teddy Roosevelt were talking about the need for all people to have health care. Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the 30s and the 40s talked about health care as a human right. Harry Truman talked about universal health care. John F. Kennedy talked about health care for all. Lyndon Johnson talked about health care for all. Barack Obama talked about health care for all. Jimmy Carter talked about health care for all. I think that the time is long overdue for talk. Now is the time for action. And I want to be crystal clear. I want to be crystal clear about what I mean by Medicare for all. Because everyone throws that phrase out. What does it mean? What does Medicare for all mean? Number one, it means no more premiums for you or your employer. Premiums gone. No more co-payments when you walk into a doctor's office. And we're going to end one of the most absurd concepts in modern life, and that is the so-called deductible. So what the deductible means is you have health insurance, but you got to spend the first $5,000 or $10,000 out of your own pocket. Well, what happens if you don't have that $5,000 or $10,000? Looks like you don't get to the doctor when you should. We're going to end all deductibles. We're going to end all out-of-pocket expenses. Now, Medicare is a very popular program. It's the most popular insurance program in America today, but it's only available to people 65 or older. So here's our very simple plan. Year one, we are going to expand Medicare to cover some of the benefits it does not cover today. We are going to cover dental care. Last I heard, oral health was part of health care, right? We're going to cover hearing aids. A lot of elderly people need hearing aids. Can't afford them. Cover eyeglasses. And I'll tell you what else we're going to cover, which is enormously important. We're going to cover home health care. So that people can stay home and get the care they need in their home rather than be forced to go to a nursing home. And then what we're going to do, very simple, is eligibility age today is 65, year one we take it down to 55, year two 45, year three 35, and then we cover everybody in 4 years. That's it. The whole damn deal. Now, I got the health insurance industry, the drug companies, and all these guys running ads in Iowa, telling you how bad Medicare for all is. They're going to spend zillions of dollars all over this country. And you know what? They can afford to spend that money. You know why? Last year they made $100 billion in profit. So you take 1% of that profit, $1 billion, you spend it on ads and everything else, you know, that's a lot of money. Then we got Trump and the Republican Party. Then we got the Democratic establishment. But despite all of that, we are going to pass Medicare for all. And I will tell you why. I will tell you why we're going to pass it. Because no matter how many ads there are out there, how much tinkering with the system, what the average American understands is the current healthcare system is cruel, it is dysfunctional. All right? It is dysfunctional because we are now spending twice as much per person on healthcare as do the people of any other country. You got that? Our problem is not that we're not spending enough money. We're spending $11,000 for every man, woman, and child in this country. And when we're spending all of that money, you end up with 87 million people who are uninsured or underinsured. You got 30,000 people who die each year because they don't go to a doctor when they should. Next time you go into the doctor's office, ask him or her whether they have lost patients who walked into the office too late. They will tell you yes. And here's the amazing thing too. where this system is so cruel. We have 500,000 people in this country who go bankrupt because of medically related debt. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. You know, people go bankrupt, they make bad investments. People go bankrupt because they gamble away their money, a lot of reasons. You should not go bankrupt because you have been diagnosed with cancer or heart disease or Alzheimer's. That is true. And if people don't go bankrupt, there are many other people who see their credit ratings shot because they pay their medical bills too late. Right? When you are diagnosed with a serious illness, you should worry about getting well, not about whether your family is going to face financial ruin. And then my critics in the Democratic Party and elsewhere said, well, how are you going to pay for this? So let me tell you how we're going to pay for this. Number one, we're already paying for it right now. You're the average person, let's just say you're the average person in the American economy, you're making $60,000 a year. Right now, you're paying $12,000 for health care. 20% of your entire income going for health care. That's how you're paying for it right now. So I say to all of my critics, if you think people paying 20% of their income on health care is a good idea, man, you are dead wrong. Now, health care is not free. And nobody in this room would believe me if I said, no, I could snap my fingers and give everybody quality health care. It doesn't cost you anything. Of course it's going to cost you something. But what our proposal does, among other things, is it says we're going to have a getting rid of all the premiums, all the out-of-pocket expenses, all the co-payments. All of that is gone. Nobody in America on our plan pays more than $200 a year for prescription drugs. How's that? Having said that, then what we say is, okay, we offer the average family, say that's $60,000 a year family, 4% of your income will be taxed, exempting the first $29,000. So for that family, you're going to pay 4% on $31,000, approximately $1,200 a year for comprehensive health care. How's that? If for the very rich, they're going to be paying a lot more, that's for sure. But for that average family, that'll be about $1,200 a year. For you're making $30,000 a year or less, you don't have to pay anything. All right. So we are going to take on all of those folks: the healthcare industry, Republicans, the Democratic establishment, who think they're going to defeat us on this issue. They're not. All right? There's another issue out there that I want to say a word on, which is of enormous consequence. And I just want to tell you, without getting too nervous, that the more we read about it, the more the scientists study the issue. This is what they're saying. What they are saying is that climate change is an existential threat to our country and the world. Now, existential is a big word. I will look it up to find out what it meant. But what it means is a big deal. It's consequential. And what the scientists are telling us is that they have underestimated the impact, the severity, and the speed in which climate change is ravaging our country and the planet. Okay? And the beginning, even the media, is now beginning to catch on. I've seen the New York Times, the Washington Post, almost every day, talking about the horrific things that are taking place in our country and around the world. The polar ice caps are melting at a much faster rate than the scientists had anticipated. That's zillions of tons of ice that are now melting and going into the ocean. The oceans are warming. And that combination of those two factors are rising sea levels at a very high level. That means if we don't get our act together, coastal cities in our country, talking about Miami, Charleston, South Carolina, New York City, and others, will be underwater by the end of the century. Countries like Bangladesh and Vietnam got massive amounts of water covering their land. Right now, people are dependent upon fish for their protein all over the world. Fish are dying. They're moving away to get into colder water. We're going to lose our ability to have fish for protein. Here in Iowa and in the Midwest, as the climate becomes warmer, farmers will have a shorter planting season. Their fields will be underwater. You can't plant corn or soybeans when your fields are underwater. We are talking about extreme weather disturbances. We're talking about more forest fires. As we speak, Australia is now on fire. California has been on fire. You're going to see more forest fires as the forests become drier and drier. What you're also going to see, according to the United Nations, are hundreds of millions of people becoming climate refugees. That means if you are living in a part of the world where you can't grow your crops, you can't find clean drinking water, you're going to be uprooted, you're going to go someplace else, causing international conflict. That is the reality. And it is happening faster than the scientists anticipated. And that tells me that if we love our children and our grandchildren and the future of this planet, we have got to act boldly and decisively in telling the fossil fuel industry that their greed and their profits are not more important than the future of this planet. That is why I'm proud to tell you, I am extremely proud, that working with people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others, we are fighting, we have brought forth the most comprehensive climate change plan by far of any candidate for president, and it is a plan which, as fast as we humanly can, will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And as part of the Green New Deal, we're going to create up to 20 million good-paying jobs. But this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. We are fighting, my friends, the future of this planet. That's what we're fighting for. And as president, unlike the person, hesitate to mention his name, you probably know who he is, the man who was in the White House, who will soon be impeached, but I don't want to mention his name. He thinks, and this is really, in an administration that is unbelievable in so many respects, he continues to believe that climate change is a hoax, and in fact is exacerbating the problem by bringing forth policy to create more fossil fuel. This president will hold a very different point of view. What I will do is reach out to countries all over the world, to people all over the world, Russia, China, India, Pakistan, all over the world, and tell people that we are fighting, must fight this battle together, and that maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year on weapons of destruction, maybe, just maybe, we should come together and pool our resources to fight our common enemy, which is climate change. A couple of other issues I want to touch on, and issues that we will deal with when we are in the White House. And that is, we have a criminal justice system today which is racist and which is broken and which we are going to fundamentally reform. And I want you all, what our campaign is about is asking people to think outside the box. Ask yourself, how does it happen that we have more people in jail in America today than any other country on earth, including China, 4 times our size? So what we are going to do is a number of things. Most importantly, we are going to invest in our young people, in jobs and education, not more jails and incarceration. We're going to end private prisons and detention centers. Right now, and I wonder how many of you know this, because this is not common knowledge, there are 400,000 people in jail. We have 2 million people overall. 20% of them, 400,000, are in jail. You know why they're in jail? Who knows? No, they're in jail because they are too poor to afford cash bail. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, you were arrested, not convicted. You're put in jail, you don't have the $500 you need to get out of jail, and that's where you are right now. 400,000 people in jail because they can't afford bail. We're going to end cash bail. I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We're going to end the so-called war on drugs. Too many lives have been destroyed as a result of this war on drugs, and we're going to end it. We're going to end it by legalizing marijuana in every state. We are going to expunge the records of those people arrested for possession of marijuana. And when marijuana becomes legal throughout the country, we're going to make sure that it's not just a handful of corporations who control that industry, but we're going to help those people who suffered the most from the war on drugs, often the African American and Latino community, help them start the businesses that they need. Together, our administration is going to end the demonization of undocumented people in this country. Well, what Trump is trying to do, which is what demagogues always do, they pick on minorities. That's what they do all over the world. Trump didn't invent this idea. And you take people's anger and frustration and you turn them against a group of people. Maybe it's African Americans, maybe it's Jews, maybe it's Latinos, maybe it's gay people. Doesn't matter what the group is. You take people's anger and you turn them against that particular minority group. We are going to end the demonization of undocumented people in this country. We are going to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. On day one, through executive order, we're going to restore the legal status of the 1.8 million young people eligible for the DACA program. And we are going to radically change our policy at the border so that federal agents no longer will ever be snatching babies from the arms of their parents. We are going to develop gun policy in this country which reflects what the American people want, not what the NRA wants. That means expanded background checks, universal background checks. It means ending the gun show loophole. It means ending the so-called straw man provision. It means doing what the American people want, ending the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. I gotta tell you that I get very tired of hearing my Republican colleagues on the floor of the Senate talk about small government. They're conservatives, they want a small government, they want to get government off the backs of the American people. Sounds like a pretty good idea. Well, if they believe in getting government off the backs of the American people, then they have got to end their war against women and understand that it is women who should control their own bodies, not politicians. So my promise to you tonight is I will never nominate anybody to the U.S. Supreme Court who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. It is women who have got to control their bodies and make those decisions, not politicians. Now, our campaign is a different type of campaign than any other out there. Because I'm the only candidate for president that will tell you a truth that you don't hear much about in Congress or on TV. And here is that truth. That truth is that no president alone, no matter how honest or well-intentioned he or she may be, can do what has to be done for the working families in this country. And the reason that the message of our campaign is us, not me, is I'm here to tell you I cannot do it alone as president, which is why we need a political revolution. The only way that real change ever takes place, I want you to think about it. Go back to history. We all study this stuff. Think about workers fighting for their dignity and forming unions. And sometimes they were thrown in jail, sometimes they were killed. But they stood together and said, you know what? We are human beings, we're not animals. We will have dignity and respect when we go to work, and they form unions. Millions of workers stood up. Think about women. 100 years ago or so today, women did not have the right to vote. Women could not get the education they wanted. Women could not do the work that they dreamed of doing. They were second-class citizens. And it was not a president of the United States who woke up one day and decided that was wrong. It was millions of women and their male allies standing up and fighting for justice. And think about the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the great leaders in the history of our country, but if he were here today, he would tell you it wasn't him. It wasn't the leaders. They were helped to organize. It was a mass movement of people. Millions of African Americans and their white allies and others who said we are going to do everything possible to end racism in the United States of America. And the same thing is true for the gay rights movement of people standing up under tremendous pressure, being humiliated every day, standing up and saying that in America, people must have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of gender. Grassroots movement. And today, all over the world, today, as we speak, it is the young people in organizations like the Sunrise Movement and many others who are demanding that governments start acting decisively on climate change. So what is my point? My point is that the only way real fundamental change ever takes place is when millions of people stand up and they look around them and they say, you know, what's going on is wrong. It's wrong that we have so much income and wealth inequality. It's wrong that half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. It's wrong that kids can't afford to get a higher education or are leaving school deeply in debt. It's wrong that we are not aggressively dealing with climate change, or with criminal justice reform, or with immigration reform, or with women's rights. It's wrong. Now is the time for us as a people from coast to coast, working people standing up and saying enough is enough. That this country and our government have got to represent all of us and not just a handful of wealthy campaign contributors. So tonight, I am here to ask for your help to help us win in the great state of Iowa, and with your help, we will win the Democratic caucus in Iowa. Here tonight to ask for your help to become the Democratic nominee so that together we will defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of America. But I'm here tonight to ask for something even more. I'm asking for your help the day after the election, the day after the inauguration, to help me transform this country so that we finally have an economy that works for all of us, not just the few. That's what this campaign is about. We've got another 2 months to go. And this is when political life becomes interesting. So we're going to need your help in the next couple of months to help us do literature drops, help us make phone calls, help us on social media. We're going to win with your help. I have no doubt that we're going to win here. If we win here, we're going to win New Hampshire. And if we win New Hampshire, we're going to win Nevada. We're going to win California. We're going to win South Carolina. As Stacey Walker said before I got up there, it is absolutely true that the 1% is enormously powerful. They have unbelievable amounts of money. They own the media. They are very, very powerful folks. But at the end of the day, 99% is a lot bigger number than 1%. So if we stand together, if we don't allow Trump and his friends to divide us up based on the color of our skin or where we were born or our religion or our sexual orientation, if we stand together, we can not only defeat Trump, we can create the kind of nation that you and I know we can become. Thank you all very much.